Hey, it's Chris here. It's been bugging me that I haven't been streaming about code, but I've been working on such a lot of open source code recently that I thought I would take the opportunity to record some of it. Uh, to be specific, I've been working on this project called Borrow My Topic, and I want to tell you a little bit about it, and I also want to work through it and work on some code for it while recording this so that you can get a bit of a sense of how I think about approaching developing and the kinds of questions I ask myself and how frequently I lean on documentation and Google. And I'm going to be doing some interesting things as well. It's a Laravel project. I'm using Tailwind for it, which is a new thing for me. I'm working on it with a bunch of other people. So this is the first project I'm using the Google project boards for, and it's very pull request heavy, and there's lots of peer review I can get help with. So I'm going to be going through that. I'm trying to make this a very low effort, low requirement, low effort recording thing, because I find the more effort I want to put into it up front and the more editing I want to do and the more I want to show my face, a lot of incidental worries and pressures crop up with that, and it makes it a little bit harder for me to try and do something consistently. And what I want to do is something consistent. So you're not going to see much of my face in this. You're not going to see much preparation for this. I'm just, as you see it, is as I'm going through it now. You're probably going to hear kids running around the house and screaming and shouting at each other as kids do. And that's okay. I'm streaming this in the middle of the day. There are people in the house. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm trying to do something very low effort. So forgive me for the lack of production quality and the lack of preparation. But I wanted to put something on YouTube and show a little bit of my thinking through open source work so that there's not just this vacuum of content in my neck of the internet. I mentioned this is a Laravel project called Borrow My Topic. The idea behind it is that it is a way for speakers and writers and podcasters to take topics that they have spent time researching and putting effort into, and to put that somewhere on the internet where new speakers and new writers can come along and find these topics. So there are a few different sort of user stories for this. If you actually go to github.com/assertchris/borrow my topic, then there is a stories markdown file here, and this goes through a few different stories. I'll give you the synopsis, the basic synopsis of them. The first is that as a speaker, as I mentioned, you want, and if you're in a position where you want to be able to share your topic and mentor people in these things that you've researched, you can put your topic up on the site. You can say whether you're happy to mentor people or whether it's just there for conference organizers and meetup organizers and publishers to come speak to you about these topics. But you have, like, say, 5 topics, and you put them up on the site, and then those conference organizers and meetup organizers and publishers can come to you and they can say, do you want to speak at our event? Do you want to speak at our meetup? Do you want to write this book for us? Or new speakers can come along and say, hey, I'm really new to speaking. I don't really know what I want to talk about. I don't even know if I'm good enough to talk about this. They can come along and they can see a topic that catches their interest. They can have a look at how well it's been received in the past and what feedback it's gotten. And then if they think, okay, this is a thing, this is a topic I could do, they can run with it on their own, okay? Barring some ground rules, which I'll talk about. Or if they think, okay, this topic really interests me, but I'm not sure if I know enough about it or enough about presenting it or writing about it to be good enough to do it on my own, if you've indicated on the topics you've uploaded that you are happy to mentor them, then they can say, okay, I want mentoring in this topic, and it can put you two in contact, and then they can do the talk at some point. Now, what are the ground rules? Well, the ground rules, we don't really know what they all are yet. We have kind of an idea of what ground rules we would like for this idea to work for our topics, and they include things like, okay, if someone is using my topic, I expect them to have a slide in their presentation or a paragraph in their article or just a minute-long segment of their talk to say, I got this topic from this person, and it was I got it off of this website. And this is not just me that's worked on this. This is also because of the research and the help and the mentoring of this person. So like, if I'm borrowing a topic, my fifth slide or something, depending on what the specifics of the ground rule, but my fifth slide, for example, is going to say, I got this topic from Jeff, and this is his Twitter handle, and he helped me prepare this thing. So if you're interested to know more about it, or you want to speak to the originator of this topic, go to him on Twitter. Okay, it's that kind of idea. But as I said, we don't know exactly what those ground rules need to be at the end of the day, because we're not going to be the only ones using it. Certainly we want to build this thing because we do want to use it, but we're not going to be the only people using it, so we want to know what other people feel those ground rules should be. Clearly attribution is a common sense good one to do. Not using it in some defamatory way or making direct money from it, or I don't know, whatever people decide the ground rules should be. We're going to do some research on that coming up. But for now, I'm just building the systems behind this with the help of these other people. The second sort of avenue of this, I mean, I've gone through essentially what these two stories are, but the second avenue of this, and honestly something that is quite important to a bunch of us in this thing now, is taking this from the point of view of the organizers. So someone organizing a conference, to a lesser degree, mostly someone organizing a meetup is quite an important thing, we feel, where sometimes there is a struggle to find the correct topics or the right people that you feel will make your conference better. And I mean, we see this often with things like calls for diversity and inclusion in the selection of conference speakers, or people having conferences and meetups that are a very specific target audience and theme that struggle to find speakers to speak at their events. Like I remember trying to run a meetup group in Wellington, New Zealand, and a meetup group for Laravel, and it's a very, very, very popular framework, but in Wellington specifically, there weren't a lot of people who were using it that also were open to speak at meetups. And so there was this constant struggle of how do we get people to volunteer to speak. It can't always be the same 2 or 3 people speaking all the time. So how do we broaden the group of people who are willing to speak at these events? Maybe it's that we aren't finding topics that are popular enough. Maybe there are people who want to speak, but they don't know what to speak on. And so Borrow My Topic is also supposed to be this idea of saying, okay, looking for topics that are popular as a meetup organizer or as a conference organizer or as a publisher, looking for topics that are popular, or looking for a topic that I want, and then finding the presenter to do it. Maybe, and it's also, by the way, possible in the system to upload a topic, but to say you don't want to present it anymore, okay? But maybe that meetup organizer says, I really like your talk on testing in Laravel, for example, and I would like you to present it, but I see you've marked that you don't want to present it. Even though you've been given the option again, it's fine. You don't want to present it, that's okay. But now I can make a request to say, this is a topic I would really like to see at our meetup. Is there anyone on the site who would be willing to present the topic? Now, in many situations, that's going to be like a remote presentation. That's okay. All we want to do is try and help. We want to try and help meetup organizers that are struggling to find topics and people to present those topics at their meetups. And we want to help new speakers to find topics and mentorship to be able to present at meetup groups and conferences and to write stuff. I imagine this being quite a useful tool for people who publish online magazines, digital magazines, to or even Dead Trees magazines, to say, okay, well, we're running this theme of robotics. How do we find topics in this theme that we can use to fill out our magazine that we publish every 3 months or whatever? How do we do that? And so people like PHP Architect, that would be useful for, or you get the idea. So it's about sharing topics. It's particularly useful for new speakers, for conference organizers, for meetup organizers. and it's an open source thing that we're doing. So that's a lot of talking. Okay. I've been working on this code base with the help of these other people for about 2 weeks now. This was the very first commit over here 15 days ago, and there are currently 3 pull requests. I think all of them are mine, yeah. And we've been going through this project board of things that we want to do before we launch a version 1. So I think maybe I can show you what that looks like. I just want to make sure that this thing is still recording. I think so. Okay, so I'll just go to that, and I need to run the, let me try and remember what this is. Oh yes, it's artisan serve. That's what I had to do. Okay, so I'll start up VS Code, Xcode. Please excuse my horrible theme. I need to change that at some point. Okay, so this is the code base. It's a very, 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 very simple implementation so far. What I did was I created a new Laravel project on 5.6, I think. I bootstrapped all the registration stuff. Please excuse how ugly this part of it is going to look now. I added things like login with Twitter, which will associate user accounts with Twitter. I've got ways to add topics and presentations belonging to those topics. So part of the seeding data I have is to create these topics and then to create a presentation for this one. So it was, the presentation type was of Meetup and it was at Nomad PHP. This form stuff really needs to be improved, but okay. It's one of the things I'll get to explaining why it's so ugly at the moment. Okay, and then the different presentations can have links. So if you have feedback for a specific presentation you did, like say you presented on Nomad PHP in this example, you got a few different joined in links that you want to put here, some tweets maybe, maybe you want to add a link for the slides specific to this presentation. Then you can do all of that stuff here. You can also do general links for the presentation. So say you have a recording of it, I could put a recording of this specific topic, even though it's not specific to, I mean, it is part of a presentation, right? You'll have that as a presentation. Say I've got a recording of me doing this talk at ZendCon, for example. I could put the presentation of this, the video of that talk with the presentation at ZendCon. But I can also say, okay, I want conference organizers to be able to see, or meetup organizers to be able to see what this talk looked like. I have one recording from ZendCon, but I can associate that with the main topic through the screen so that if they want to see what this talk is actually about, they can watch a recording of it. I want a way for people to be able to showcase what talks they have, what topics they've submitted. So this is my profile on this site. They can see some general information about these. They can see just very briefly what presentations were here, what type they were, and what month and year they were. So this is useful for conference organizers to see, and for meetup organizers and for publishers to see when last this topic was presented and where. It's also useful for the new speakers to see, okay, they want to talk at Sunshine PHP, but they can't because they want to talk at Sunshine PHP, they can't because they don't know what to talk about. Let's look at some topics that they might find interesting. But okay, the monads in PHP 1, that was presented at Sunshine. So they won't pick up that one because obviously if it was presented last year, there's a less chance that they'll be accepted this year to present it. They might want to try one of the others, making games with React.js, whatever. Then each of these can click through to an individual page that has a lot more information about this. And this is the kind of information that you would see submitted through something like OpenCFP. There's an abstract for the talk. This is the kind of thing you'd find on a conference website or on a meetup.com page for the event. Some additional information that's useful to help people understand what specifics about the talk are interesting, what works very well with it, what kind of audience it's suited for, and what makes this person good at mentoring or presenting this topic. If there were links associated with this talk in general, they'd be displayed here. Then, okay, what are all the places this has been presented before? Are there specific links to that, like feedback links, videos, slides, code, etc.? Okay. There's also a search implementation here. Search, which goes through Algolia. This was styled before I broke remove Bootstrap and put Tailwind in. It's quite big now, so you can see really clearly that it's presented by Algolia. There's pagination here. You can search in here, so I can misspell zombie, for example, and it'll return this stuff here. And if I take nothing out, it just does a normal list of models. That's fine. And then that's about it, actually. That's about it. Now, it looks so ugly in these back pages because I started this with the default Laravel project template, which was Bootstrap 4, okay? And then recently, Miguel, a contributor to this, created a homepage that used Tailwind, and I thought, well, this might be a nice opportunity for me to use Tailwind, for me to get familiar with it, because it's kind of been like a very neat box that I don't want to open because I'll fall into it, you know. And now he used it, and so it was in the code base, and I thought, well, now I have to use it. Now I've got to get familiar with this thing. It's a good opportunity to do it. So what I did was I removed Bootstrap 4, and I added a Tailwind preset library, and I installed Tailwind, and it's added back in these admin views, and it gave me an opportunity to make a clean slate, to install Tailwind in the project bootstrapping stuff and the asset stuff. So now there's just a Tailwind CSS file and an app one that, I mean, it doesn't, this is what exists with Laravel anyway. But there's the Tailwind stuff that I can start customizing here. And so I did that, and then I removed the landing page that he did and added a new landing page because I want to start learning this stuff again. And so this is the landing page. It's got this navigation section. It's got there are actually two layout files. The app layout file is like the global layout for the whole site. There's some style sheet stuff up here, so I'm using a Google Fonts thing, and I'm loading that Tailwind CSS file in here. And there's some Google Analytics. And then I'm including a nav and a footer, and then yielding content. And now there's two different types of things here. Oh, I see this here. I must just move this. There are two different types of layouts that we've got here. We've got the main landing page, which doesn't need JavaScript, and it's got a very different sort of look and feel to the rest of the site. And then there's the page landing page, which is just everything in a center column plus some navigation at the top. So the main app template includes the navigation and the footer on every page. And the navigation is the only thing that does this, but the navigation checks if it's the landing page and renders a different navigation. I can probably do that differently in these. Like I can include different nav files in each of these. That's probably a way to do it. But maybe I'll do that during this recording, I'm not sure. For now though, the nav is included in every page, the footer is included in every page, and then the content differs depending on whether it's the landing page, which is all this content, or whether it is just a normal page, which is this content. So that's kind of the basic layout structure of this. And then the landing page, once you ignore the footer, which is this, which is just this area down here, and the top navigation, which is this up here. Once you ignore that, the landing page is kind of very simple. It's got the heading area, and then these are all Tailwind classes. It's got the search area, which is over here, and it's got the content area, which is these. There's provision for 3 of them, but there's only functionality to be able to show 2 of them. This newest topics is based on the created date. So topics, it's just like whoever creates topics, they're displayed over here. And I should probably put the creator of them, that person's name underneath the title. I should probably do that. But newest topics is just based on created at. Popular topics, I have an implementation for page view stats of these topics. So if you go to see more, that is actually not the right page to be in. That's not actually the right link. That's the same link as that. That should be different. But basically, if you go to see more, you should be able to, I can actually go to it from here. So zombie, and then click on that. This is the page that you should see. And when you go to this page, assuming you're not working on your local machine like I am now, it'll record a view to this page. And the only thing it records is the time that was done, because it's a Laravel model, the topic that is being viewed, the, what are the other things? The browser, So like a user agent string, only that, and the country based on the IP address at the time. So it's like it records, the only thing specific to the user that it records is the browser user agent, just because I want to get a kind of sense of whether this is being viewed more on mobile browsers or on Linux browsers or on Windows browsers, that kind of thing, just so that I know sort of the amount of effort I need to put into each of those things. It doesn't record anything about the user. It doesn't record who you are when you view this page. Nothing like that. Just the entire country you are in, according to IP address. So with VPN, that'll be off. And the browser user agent that you've got and the topic that you're viewing. And then that stuff gets aggregated in the background to being a page view count in each of these topic records in the database. That's all that is. So that's how I work out popular topics, because then I can see, okay, Zombies in Binary has 3 page views and the rest have 1 page view, for example, and that's what gets displayed here. And so this is probably going to be, I'm not really sure how well this will rotate. Maybe I want to randomize it a little bit. I don't know how I work that out. The third block that's not seen here is a block for requested topics. And that's really the only part about this site that's not implemented yet. I have implemented the ability to say, again, if you'll excuse the really ugly design of this, I'm just going to have a drink quickly. If you excuse the really ugly design of this, I have implemented a way for you to say your name and your email address and to say, I'm an organizer or a publisher or a speaker or something else. To say when you want this thing for, so if it's a conference, what's the date of the conference? If it's a book, what is the month that this book is going to be printed in, ideally? To put some extra information in here to say, okay, well, we'd like you to keynote, or we want to know if you do this talk in combination with someone else, or would you do this talk specifically in this way, you know, that kind of thing. And then to send that off. And this will send 2 emails off. It'll send an email off to say, oh, actually, I can show you. You know what? I can show you. So this, you'll notice here, this is actually pre-filled with information because I'm logged in. If I log out and then I request again, it's not going to put my name and email. That's just a convenience. But I can say an organizer, and I can say, I'll just put my email address in so that it goes through, gmail.com. I can say, okay, I'm a publisher. I'll say, I'll say that I'm a publisher. Okay, March issue. And could you write with Markdown? Just as an example, and then send this off. Now at the moment it's putting this in a synchronous queue for my local development machine, just so that I can watch what errors crop up when I hit send. That's why it's being a little slow. But it'll send 2 emails out. If I refresh this, okay, so it sends out 2 emails. The first email it sends is to the person who has uploaded this topic to say, this topic has been requested by this person. Okay, so you have some kind of idea about what's being requested, tells you a little bit about them. So this is just what I put in that name field and what exactly they are. So you know if they're a conference organizer or a meetup organizer or a publisher, whatever. And then you can see when they sort of want it for and a quote of what additional information they have to ask about this thing. Now at this point, if you can't remember, you can go there and you can see what the topic is. But you can also accept the request to present or decline the request to present. So this gives you an option to say, okay, I haven't indicated that I don't want to present this anymore, and someone's requested it, I can accept that and say, right, I'll happily present it for you, or no, I don't really feel like presenting this, put this into a queue for someone else to be able to present. The other email that goes out is to the publisher to say, okay, just to remind them what they've done. They've requested this topic from this presenter. Here's a little bit of information about them. Now this is just the person's name that they've put in the account, but there is also a way to specify some other information which might help with getting people a better understanding of each other. If you go to your settings page, again, this is really ugly, but you can see I've set my name and my handle and my email address. I can also say I'm a member of a group who's traditionally underrepresented in the community. Now, this isn't a feature that's been requested, and we know that this might be make some people uncomfortable to know that it is here. But what we want to do is we want to provide a way for people who are not generally represented in the tech community, a way for them to be able to say they are from a group, to self-identify as that. And this is useful for people who want to try and build a lineup of speakers or writers or meetup speakers or whatever it is, to be able to build up a group of presenters that represents more of the people in the world, and not just a specific gender or color or type of people. This provides a way for you to be able to understand people better, and it's completely optional. You don't need to fill the stuff in when you create an account on this thing. You don't need to fill the stuff in to submit a topic. But if you want to, you can. You can say, I'm a member from this group. If you want to, you can specify additional information about what you'd like to tell people about that. So perhaps you are from a group of people like people who are not fully able to walk on two legs. Maybe you require some assistive machinery, a wheelchair. Maybe you can't see 100%, and so you need a help dog. And in that case, you can say, okay, I'm a member of this group of people who don't typically speak at conferences or don't typically write for magazines, and this is the special consideration that I have. If you want me to speak at your thing, or you want me to write for your thing, you need to look out for this kind of thing. So I'm going to say I'm not, but just want to demo some functionality, because I want to show you what this looks like if you have this information in here. So now it's saved that stuff. I also want to go to a topic like zombies and binary and want to say I'm not willing to present this again. Okay, and I'll say that I'm willing to mentor people on it, just because I want to demonstrate something to you quickly. Now let me log out and let me request zombies and binary again. I'll say an organizer. I'll put my email address in again so that it comes to me. I'm an event organizer sometime in June. Bring your hat. I don't know, whatever. Now, if I was another speaker or something else, but I wanted mentoring on this, because I have now said that zombies and binary, I'm willing to mentor people, this option is available. So I can say, I'm just a speaker, and I'd like to be mentored on this, and that will be indicated in the emails. For now, I'm just going to say I'm an event organizer, send this off again. So it's going to send these two emails out again. Remember the changes that I made to the topic was to say I'm no longer interested in presenting it. And the change I made to my profile, just for this example, is to say I'm a member from those groups and whatever my situation was. So now these two emails here, I can see, okay, the email that's is sent to me, the person who uploaded the topic. We know you'd rather not present it yourself, but we thought we'd ask anyway, just in case you change your mind and you want to. But don't worry, you can just decline the request. And so from that point of view, okay, you can see someone's requested it, but you don't have to, and we know you've said you don't want to, so that's okay. Just decline it, that's fine. But in the off chance that you said accidentally, or maybe you've even forgot that you didn't want to present it anymore, or whatever, in case you check that, we still give you the option, and you can decline anyway. It's just polite of us to do that. Okay, now, to the person who requested this, we can see, okay, a little bit about them, their name. They've said that they are from an underrepresented group, and this is what they said is specific to that. So if you have an issue with sight, you can say, okay, generally poorly sighted people or unsighted people don't register for conferences. They can say, aren't represented at conferences. They can say, okay, I'm from an underrepresented group, and again, an optional thing of describing that, they can also say what that entails, what their needs are to be able to take part in the event. And the entire purpose of this, notice it's nowhere in search yet. I'm unsure whether it's going to be in search for version 1. But notice there is it's not required to use the site. There is a very low emphasis on it on the site. If you don't want to know about this, you don't have to know about it. And no one's going to force you to enter that information. No one's going to shove it in your face. But it may be useful for organizers and for publishers to have that information at hand so they can take up further discussion with the presenter if it's required. And we want to provide a way for that to happen. We want to provide the tools for that to happen. So that's kind of as much functionality as there at the moment. We've been going, as I said, for about 2 weeks, and we've done all of that stuff. And really what is left is to go to this email and to see these two options here, they still need to be implemented. At the moment, if you go to them, they don't actually do anything that breaks. Okay. So I need to implement these two ideas. And I also need to implement a page where people can go to find topics that have been requested, but where the presenters have declined to present them. Say I've submitted zombies in binary and I've indicated I don't want to present this anymore, and I get the email and I decline the request to present. That topic then needs to go into a list where new speakers can pick up the topic. The meetup organizer finds a topic they like, they request it, that request gets declined, and so now they want the topic presented and they need to organize someone to present it. That's what that list is for. As a new speaker, as a returning speaker who feels like presenting something that's been requested, I can go to that list and I can say, someone wants zombies in binary. I can see that the person who uploaded it to the site is no longer interested in presenting it for this event, and I can pick it up and present it at that event. And maybe there's mentoring involved, and I can go back to previous slides and previous videos and learn what the topic is about. And if I'm on board with it, I can pick up the topic. That's the general idea, right? Okay. So that's what I'm going for. The acceptance and the declining actions need to be implemented. The list of requested topics need to be implemented. We still need to work out a logo, which I'm probably not going to do because I'm just really poor at anything artistic. So we'll need to get a logo. And also fixing every other form on the page. This page looks great, I think. It scales quite nicely down to a very small mobile size, and it's still very readable. It's very accessible markup, and it just expands kind of nicely at various breakpoints to display at most 3 from each of these groups. I might change it so that it displays more at a time. Maybe it displays 2 rows of each of these. I don't know. For the moment, I'm quite happy with this. I do need to get the list of requested topics down here, and that's going to feed off of that extra page that has all the requested topics that were declined from the original presenter. So that's what we're going to do there. How are we looking for time? Is there any way to see how long I've been recording for? No? Okay. Well, it's fine. I'm just going to carry on until I do a bunch of stuff that makes me happy. So, I think what I want to do to start off with is that I want to fix this link. And at the same time, there's an improvement that I want to make. So what I'll do, I think this pull request is still open, which is the last pull request I did, which is the new homepage styles. I think this is still open. No one's merged yet. So I'll just put that change in this here. So far, I've been doing the links. If I go to the nav and I show you what that is, maybe that's also a good change to do. So far, I've been doing the links like this, where I specify the classes repeated for each one. And all of these, wow, that is intense. All of these have exactly the same styling, don't they? This one doesn't have padding on the right. These all have padding on the right. That's really interesting. But look, I've got a lot of links and a lot of that styling is repeated. And if I go and look over here where I've got the topic card, here I've got these links over here as well, and they just have some styling as well. Where's a good example of what I'm trying to show you now? Let me look at the footer. Here. This is what I did, which was kind of like half a step towards what I want to do, which is I created an include. And all that include does, if I go to that include, it is link. It just puts this text brand light as a link color with the text in the link. Now that's okay, but I don't think an include is right for that. I think what would be better for that is to have a blade directive. So if I go to laravel.com, to the trusty documentation, I want to learn how to make blade directives again. I used to know and then I just forgot. Extending blade. So this is it. In our service provider, you can create a directive, and this lets you do an at datetime with some value. So here I could say plain link or link, just link as a directive. And then I could echo some markup. I wouldn't even have to echo PHP markup. I could just put link markup in here that included the link and the text and maybe a third option for overriding the styling. That's an interesting way to do it. Let me do that, actually. Let me do that. As sort of a first step of things to do. I'll go to Providers, App Service Provider, and we already have one directive which takes the markdown for an abstract or the additional table and prints that from Markdown to HTML. So I'll put another directive in here, although I already have that facade in there. Let me take this directive, and I'll say, I'll just do link. The first thing will be the href, and then the label, and then thirdly, an options array. And what will I put in here? This is basically just a list of classes. So for now, maybe what I'll say is that I just want this class in here. Okay. And what does that return? Well, it can return this. Let's just make it return this, and I kind of like the style of doing that. Maybe I can say class is join just with a space, and then maybe I'll rename it to that. That's a little bit more clear. Okay, so class is that, and then I can echo it as this, and finally I can echo text here. Right, actually label is what I wanted that for, and href is what I wanted that for. Okay, here's a syntax error. There we go. Now, okay, fine. Let's try that. And what we'll do is, it's in our footer. So here, instead of include, I can say link. I will take that. I wonder if I can do it just like this. No, I'll probably have to do this. I'll probably have to quote it. Oh. So let me quote it there and there. But it's a lot shorter already. Do you see? Because now I don't have to do the different keys anymore. I can just do it like this. Okay. So these are these. The names I need to do as well. By the way, these are the people that have helped so far with code review and with code. And I'm very grateful for that help. Let's do that, and comma, 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 and then a full stop. Okay, let's see if that works. Error! Too few arguments. That's interesting. Let me close others and go back to this and define it here. So link takes href, label, and classes. And I'm not providing any classes here. Past 1, expected 2. Too few arguments provided to the closure. 1 past, expected 2. In footer. So link has 1 there, 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 1 there. How is this working now? Does it take everything that's provided in there? I mean, if I did like what if I did this? No, you know what? That's garbage. I don't want to do that. Okay, let me just DD what this href is, and I will comment the rest of these things out. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. Oh, done there. Things. Okay. I don't think that's compiling at all. Maybe this is a caching thing as well. If I go into framework views and I delete all of these things, there we go. That's the expression that's in there. Okay, so if I do this, eval like that, and I return that, return. And in fact, what I can do is href label classes is that, and I can change this whole thing to expression, and then I will do a dereference according to that. Let's see if that works. It'll be magical if it works. Okay, I think it's also cached that stuff again. In fact, how does that look when it's cached? So that's that. Right, so it caches the whole of the footer thing. That's interesting. Okay. No, broken. What? Expression, there we go. Offset 2. Oh, okay. If not args2, then classes, I don't know. Let's do classes and then text brand base. Was that what that was before? I don't remember actually. Dynamic sections and footer styles. I think this was the commit that I did it in. And there we go, text brand light. It's a Tailwind class that I'm not used to. Okay. If args1, no. You know what? I do need to validate. It's irritating that this is using an expression now. So if count args is less than 2, then throw new invalid argument exception is a good one. Invalid argument exception, enough args for a link. Okay. If not is set args, and this will be the third option, then if is set args, then classes array merge. Oh, come on. Classes and args2. So this will combine them if the third optional argument is there. And then we want to split this into href and label, which we can do safely now. Okay. I also want to move this a bit further up so that it's grouped. So this is a logical group here. That's default classes, that merges them if the optional argument is there, and this combines them all into a string. So now, oh, bugger, is this not supported anymore? I'll just do that. Or yet I think is what I was going for. But there it is, it's there. What if I want to add an optional thing here? Like if I want to say font bold. It works, that's amazing. Awesome, 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 awesome. So this is a lot simpler than using an include before. And I've learned a thing about blade directives, which is what you get here is a string of code. And you actually have to turn that into something meaningful. Which, I mean, this is something else. Anyway, this is our link directive. So let's have a look in here for where we are doing includes link. No, not that, not that, not that, not that. Okay, so I'm not using it anywhere anymore. So I'm just going to delete that. That should be fine. At the moment, we only have tests that are dusk tests. So if I run artisan dusk, I will get a nicely formatted overview of what's working and what's broken. This, because it's set up so like this on my local machine, will actually send emails. So things like password reset is a bit slower because it's sending an actual email. But there we go. Everything looks still to be working. And this goes through a lot of the functionality for validation and for submission of these things. And search. Actually, searches Algolia. Okay, so things are still working. But now, what has changed? Well, I've got a bit of white space there that shouldn't be there. I don't know why this isn't being stripped out automatically. That's bugging me. Oh. So I've got the blade directive. You know what else is that I have tried very hard to use single quotes according to the normal Laravel style unless interpolation is necessary. So I want to do that. Oh, here interpolation's happening, here it's not, here it's not, here it's not. Okay, that's fine. We've got our directive, we've replaced the include calls with the directive itself, we've removed the include, we've also changed a tiny bit of formatting there, that's okay. So let's say add link directive, remove link include. Okay. Let's push that before someone merges this, decides to merge it. Now, we can go through here and we can look for all ahref. We can look for all of these that have styling. I mean, there's quite a few in here, to be honest. But here's an example. Okay, so this is the card that renders each of these blocks. It renders the heading and a little bit of the abstract and these two links down here. So it's something on the home page, it's something I've recently styled, but here I didn't use the include because I didn't have that include at the time. So we can take this, again that's an expression and eval is going to evaluate it in the current scope, I'm hoping. It's displayed as flex, but the label is see more. So let's do that, and then let's say flex is the extra class it has. You know, I wonder if we're doing this correctly. Yeah, I think we are. Okay, it's fine. It's always going to have this text brand light. According to our directive, it's always going to have this as the first class. So if we want to overwrite this, that's fine. We can just put a class in here, and the second class will change that font color. So I think that's fine. Let's do that. Now, this is interesting because we're doing topics, request, show. We should actually do topics show for Seymour. We should do it like that. And then the second one is topics, requests show, because this shows a read-only version of the topic with all its information. This one shows the request form to request the topic be presented. And we can say request this topic. They both need to display flex in that case, and error, undefined variable topic. I see what's happening. I see what is happening. So the fact that this expression is given straight to the directive is not helpful, because we don't have access to topic here. And this is the point at which this gets really ugly. Because now, in order to evaluate this properly, we have to say vars is var export get defined variables. Is that what it is? PHP net get defined variables. I don't think that's the right function. Get defined vars. There we go. Get defined vars. Okay, and now we dump this stuff. I mean, what is this going to give us though? Get defined vars gets us an associative array. So maybe get defined vars is an associative array of keys and values for variables and values. Var export makes that a string that you can put in, and so you can say expand. Is that the correct method? Is expand the right method? No. Oh, I even didn't do that right. php.net, I even didn't do that right. Expand. What is this method that I'm looking for? Extract. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, this is going to be incredible. Extract vars. Wow. If that works, wow. 0 given. You see, I also can't easily find out what this is. If I use info and then return, this should not break anymore. Oh, whoa, no ways. Oh, I see what's happening. This takes a second parameter which says return. So that's what that does. That could be why it was complaining before. So now it's not complaining anymore exactly, but I want to info what those args are and return. Because I have a sneaking suspicion it's not executing this exactly like it should be. I'll do that, and then I'll go into the storage logs and delete all of this stuff. Now when I refresh, undefined variable topic. Again. That's interesting. What if I info vars and I comment out this other thing? I'm just trying to see what the vars thing is. Wow, that music going on outside is intense. Those people must be really enjoying things. Okay, that didn't work. I'll do it again. Anything here? Hello? Maybe I need to delete those and then refresh and then look back in the log. Okay, so expression is this. You know, it's not entirely useful because this needs to be executed in the context of the view that is using this. That's the trouble. That really is the trouble. I wonder if we shouldn't try and do something like, I mean, I know I'm really stretching now, this is really not helpful, but I wonder if we shouldn't do something like that, if this will work. Will that work for an immediate execution, I wonder? Let's take this off, let's take that off. Let's get rid of this mess over here, and I'll even simplify this a little bit so that it just returns the value of the expression. And then let's do the rest of the things. Okay, I might also need to clear these views out. This is quite an annoying part of this process. Syntax error. Because the expression now is including these brackets. This is not being evaluated. And this is a bit of a problem because I want to, man, this has to be a dynamic thing. This is a problem. This has to be dynamic, which means I can't use my link helper because this route isn't defined anywhere. I mean, I could say, for instance, I could say PHP, end PHP. I could say something like C is this, which I need to do that for, and request is this. I could do that, and then I could say, oh, but it wouldn't interpolate that though. That's the problem. It's not interpolating the dynamic value. What a quandary. What a quandary. How is this documented here? So it's just the expression that gets put in there. Custom if statements. No, you know, that doesn't help me because it takes the string value, which is the environment here, and gives that expression directly here. So that's not, oh, and it's also a blade if. It's also blade if. It's like it's taking this value and putting it here. Let's have a look how blade if is defined. If we go here to the framework code and we do, let's see, blade, is blade a separate thing? No. View, let's see, compilers, is it in there? Let's search for if as a directive. Blade if else statement. So that doesn't really seem blade if, let's see if there's a link to it here somewhere. It doesn't do the search properly, and I don't understand how to make it search for that specific syntax. I also don't know where these things are defined. That's the other problem. Concerns. Compiles. Wow, that music is amazingly loud. Compiles authorizations. No, that doesn't seem to do what I want it to do. Middleware, no. Concerns, no. Engines. What is this? No. Oh, so this is how it, I think this deals with how it compiles the code into PHP files that are cached. But I don't know if this, with errors, get data. This isn't actually the blade code that I'm looking for. I wonder where I can find the blade code. Would it be in support? Do you reckon? I think Vue's the right place for it. I just don't know. Is it all in this one file? Could that be it? Compile string. Let's see. If. No, actually, why am I searching for if in a PHP file? That's ridiculous. So if, register the if statement directive, and this is a blade directive that takes so if there's an expression, then blade check that. Otherwise, just check the name. That's a really weird way of doing that. this condition's name, and then the parameters. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not actually really sure what's going on here. So conditions, that's where that stuff's registered, but how are these things added? Is there like some support file that these things are all added in, or is it in these that they get added in? Let me go into the concerns thing and look at helpers and then see. So no, comments, components, conditionals. Actually, this might be where it is. So this is the code that gets echoed. You know what, hey? You know what? I'll tell you what, we're actually going about this thing the wrong way. We're totally going about this the wrong way. Let's take this off just for a second. Let's take all of that off. And let's say what you return is still a PHP string, right? Which means we need to close it because it's got to go in line. Then we have to say echo this string inside here. So we'll say like that and like that. But expression is now what these things are. So we'll say something like, let's just say expression. I don't really know, I don't really have a good feeling for this, but here we say expression is that, right? That's actually going to be an array of parameters at this point. I can even put it as that. Okay, so this could be an array of things. This is going to be what those three parameters are. It's going to be a link and a label and then an optional array of things. Okay, and maybe I should make this multi-line for now just so that it's a little easier to reason about. And that's what I'm going to return at the end. So what I want to get out of this, I've got that expression there. In fact, this isn't even a correctly formatted PHP string. I'll put that there, and I'll put this stuff on the new line, and I'll put this before the closing bracket. Okay, and okay, this is my expression. In fact, I'll call it vars because, or params. Params is a good one. Params, right. Now, classes is going to be a default array of these things, and I'll say text brand light. That's the array of default classes. If is set params 2. So again, I'm doing that check for the optional classes. Then classes, and I'll use classes up here, is array merge classes with whatever params 2 is. So instead of evaluating it separately to doing this logic, I'm now putting this logic inside here, right? We'll do it like that. Again, we'll throw this. I don't know if we'll throw the exception here. I don't really think it's necessary for the moment. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. Let's just throw if count params is less than 2, then we've got an issue because we don't have a link. So throw new exception. Not enough params for a link. I'll do it like that. Okay, so you start that, and then you also do classes is join with a space in between all the current classes, and we need to escape that as well. What a pain this is. Okay, so that gets href, and it gets classes, and it gets label. Now, we also need to expand this to say href and label is params. Okay, so we're extracting the first and the second object of this array as href and label, which gets put in here. Here we're getting the default thing, we're merging it in with any optional parameters, we're joining that as a string, and we're putting that in here. Okay, perfect. So let's try that, and let's put this stuff back in there. We'll do it like that, and we'll do it like that, and I think this is actually okay. I think this is okay. I think this might work. So if we go back and we refresh here, undefined variable classes. Right, so classed is an issue that we need to fix. Undefined variable classes still, where is that? Where is that exactly? Expression gets loaded in here, and that becomes params. We check params length, we extract that, we create a default, we merge that, we join that, and we put it down here. And all of those are spelled exactly the same. That's why they're all highlighting like that. I think that's okay. The only trouble is that we're getting this issue. So maybe it's a case of this having cached an invalid thing. Let's delete that and refresh. And here we have our links. That's really quite cool. So these are the correct functioning links, and they have slightly different styles, or at least they should. Like for instance, we can say font bold, and all of those are bolded. Excellent. Okay, so this is actually a much better approach than we had before. We were evaluating the expression first and then trying to put it into a link. Instead, and what that was doing was that was isolating it from the scope of the rest of this document. And instead, we just need to return some PHP, which is executed in the scope of this document. And so it gets access to all of this stuff. And so this gets turned into an array of parameters and gets extracted accordingly. Now, if we take these things out, not enough parameters for a link. Excellent. That is a really cool helper. Now, we've modified this as well. So apparently there's like a new line in here that I don't like. Okay, we've modified this as well. We've replaced those links. Add a better directive for links. Okay, let's put that up there. So, add a better directive for links. That's great. So now we can actually replace all of the links we want to. All of them, every single one. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Let's have a look for where else we have links in here. If we go to our views, you know what? I want to take just the home page quickly and see if there are any links in here. There are no links in that. The landing page, sorry. That's what I want to do. I don't think there are any more links in there. That's okay. Now, earlier I spoke about having the two different navs in here, and I actually want to split them up. I want to rename this to page nav, and I want to have a second one, which is landing nav. Oh. And this landing nav, I actually don't like that these are split up. I prefer them to be closer. So like nav landing, maybe that's better, and nav page. I'd actually like these to be located. I don't care if they could be named better, is what I'm saying. So I'll have this just as the main nav, and we can also replace these links here. But for now, I'm not going to do that. I'll do that in a little bit. But let's do this instead. Okay. So we'll do it like that. And then we have a lot of links that we need to replace here. So I'm not too worried about that. But then what I'll do is I'll take this include out of here, and I'll say on landing, this needs to do includes nav landing. And on pages, this needs to do includes nav page. And you know what would make this even cleaner is if I said nav or navigation, navigation. Take these two into here and then rename them. Landing page, that makes it very clear. I can go to the landing template and say navigation.landing, and here I can say navigation.page. Okay, and it is out of the app layout. So now when I go to this, I'm here. Oh, can't find that. What have I broken now? That is horrible. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. I'm yielding content, and in my landing, I know what I've done. I haven't named these .blade.php. That's the problem. I think that's the problem. Now when I click on here, that gets loaded. Okay, fine. It was my problem. I hadn't named them correctly. But now this is a lot cleaner. In fact, I'd go a step further here and say topics includes. And I could say, I could rename this to something like landing card heading, landing card list, and landing card. Oh, landing. That's not going to work. Landing. Right. And makes that a little bit clearer as well, because now I can go to my landing page and see all of these things over here. Topics, landing. Topics, landing. Actually do that. There we go. That's a little bit clearer, I think. And this should still function. No! Topics includes topic card. Oh, that's right, because my card list also needs to change. There we go. Landing card. There we go. So that works, and I kind of like this folder structure better. I don't need this assets thing expanded because I've already shown that to you. And so this is a little bit cleaner here. I've grouped these things together. They're very similar. That's fine. I'm really happy with that. Really happy with that. What I would like to do, though, is I would like to go to my landing navigation and replace these with our new link directive. So I could say, okay, the code for this is right landing. The label for this is login. And I already have branding light, so the classes for this are that. Like that. And I can copy this, and I can take these classes here instead. So let's just put that there. Oh, did I overwrite something? No. Like that. And I'll put like that, and I will do that. Oh, like that. Okay. And this is register, and this is register. So login and register should be replaced with those. Okay, what does that do for me? So these should still work. Okay, let me just see. Let me just go back to story check quickly. I just want to make doubly sure. I just want to be very careful that I don't commit broken code. So this should still click through, and it does. Okay, that's perfect. I'm quite happy with that. This isn't much cleaner than it was before, except that now I've got the text brand light color done here, and I don't need to do the href attribute. So I'm quite happy about this approach for links. And the default style is just use the correct color. The default style is that. So I'm actually quite happy with this approach. I do need to replace this stuff as well, though. And this is the thing, because these are the links that, when I go login, that's all these links here. If I just log in with Twitter quickly, you'll see. I have a tweet. Okay. If I log in with Twitter, you'll see what I'm talking about here. It's all of these things, and they are ugly. And also, they're not styled like I want them to be styled. So, if I say link, this is the value that I want in here. For now, I'm actually going to not care about translation. And I should, but for now, I don't care about it. And what are the things that I want here? I don't want no underline. I don't want hover underline. I don't want that color. I mean, I guess I can have this style, and I guess I can have this text size. That's okay. I'd prefer to not have smaller text, but I understand why it's there, right? What is the landing style is on extra small text is small, on small text is base. I actually like that styling more, I'd have to say. So I'd say Okay, padding right of 2. Yeah, I guess padding right of 2. I'd rather actually have padding of 1 all the way around and margin of 1 all the way around. So it's a bigger tap target, and it still has the separation between the links. I'd rather do that. And then at extra small have small font size, and at normal have normal font size. That seems fine. So that's the style I want to do. And now I can copy that all the way through. I can even put these things in line if I want to have it a little bit more concise. I can even do it like that if I want. That's okay, right? I mean, I could do like this as well, I guess. I could do it like that as well. Should I do it like that as well? I don't really know. I don't really know. I mean, it'll work. You know, it's going to concatenate that with the default stuff. I mean, yeah, that's a good style. I like that style. I like that style. And that's just that font size at a large one, but you see how that size drops down. I actually need to do something with how it collapses at this size. That's a problem. Because it's basically at medium, it stops being useful. Then I have to start doing like, okay, I'm not going to worry about that stuff now though. It needs work, and you know what? I will put a project card here to do. So fix SM and XS after login. So I'll put that card in there so that it's not lost or forgotten about. And I'll convert this to an issue as well and give it the correct tag. So it is definitely front-end work. But for now, I just want to make the links, I want to use the link macro more, right? So I'll do that. And actually, I like this styling the most. So I'll do like this. Topics index is what needs to be put here. Oh no, that's actually the route that gets put there. So I'll do that. And I'll say create a topic instead. So this gets displayed to everyone. You know what? I should actually put that in here as well. Create a topic. I should put that in there as well. And then if I go back here, oh, I don't have the right styling of this though. So I have these styles here to create margin here. So if I go create a topic, it's going to tell me, it's not going to log into the right place though, is it? Create a topic, topics, create, is that it? Create a topic, topics create. If I log out and I go create a topic, it's going to get me to log in. Cool. That's the main call to action, is make a topic for users of the site, right? Not for everyone, but for users of the site. That's the main call to action. You know what? I'm actually going to put these on the same line. Like that. So I'll group, oh, actually, wait, what? So text base, text small, those are the font sizes. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to group extra small styles in a row, extra small styles in a row. Okay, I think that's okay. Oh, you know what it is, actually, is that I haven't taken this style across here. No, I have. Is this the problem? Yeah, I think this is the problem. I've confused myself now. So I want margin on the left of this login link to be 2 on extra small and 4 on small and above. Same with this register link. Okay, and then I'm doing the text sizes. So I've grouped it by screen size, extra small styles, extra small styles, small styles. So that should be a little bit more consistent. You'll see the font size creeps down very subtly at the smallest screen size. Okay, I should probably hamburger that as well. Although I'm working to sort of a minimum of 320, and this is actually above that minimum. If I expand DevTools, you'll see what I'm talking about. So if I go to 320, this is actually what it looks like. So I don't really, this is sort of the implicit minimum that I'm working with. And I could enforce it with a min width, but I don't want to. For now, I'm happy if it renders nicely at the screen size. And it does, so that's fine. Create a topic, and because I'm logged in, it takes me exactly to that already. So I have this one link outside auth, which is, I'll separate non-screen sized styles like this. So general styles and then specific screen styles, that's fine. In fact, you know what? If I'm working to the same styling as I have over here, then I actually want this to be 2 on extra small. So I can put that over here. And then on small, I want it to be 4. If I'm working to the same styles as I have on the other side. Now, I see what the trouble is with this, and I see why I actually went with 1, because it is actually too much space. If I look here, it's 1 EM on extra small and 2 EMs. That's still a lot of space, hey? It's still a lot of space. I'm not really entirely sure about that. But let me do it here as well. And the margins should collapse, that's the thing. I mean, maybe I just don't have padding. But if I don't have padding, yeah, I'll tell you what. Let me take the margin off for now, because I think it's close enough that this is okay. And I should also say that this displays inline block. That I should say as well. Okay, it's not really going to make a difference until all of them are like that, but I think that's a style that I'm happy with. So topics index. The next one is user settings. And this is settings. Oh. And then the third one is an easy link to the user's profile, so that they can see what the profile looks like. And I'm kind of hoping that over time the profile looks quite nice and is a way for developers or speakers or for writers to say, look at the stuff I've done, here's kind of a breakdown of things that I've done with the feedback and am available to do again. So if a conference organizer is like, hey, would you speak at my conference? Then you can be like, well, yes, sure. Here are the talks that I can do, pick one. So auth user is the parameter for that. And so we have create a topic, and we have the settings page, and we have the profile page. I see that I need to see this. I always seem to need to see this after I run the tests. I can go back here and then log in. The tests, I'm using a SQLite database for this, and the tests use that same SQLite database. And I'm kind of okay with that because I have seeders for all the data that I need. But it just means after running the Dusk tests locally, I often need to reseed locally because it's nuked them for some reason. But anyway, this is cool. So this is the data I have, and these are the links I have. And that is perfect. Now I do need to, you see, this stuff no longer gets run. So I can actually clean this up a bit and say, okay, this is that stuff. I'm going to use class. I'm actually going to use a hidden class here because it does exactly what that previous style did, except with, in fact, you know what? You know what I should do? There is a preset that I'm using, which is Laravel Tailwind preset. Front-end preset. Okay, this is where I got it from. But now, the stubs to render the nav. If I go to resources views, there should be like a nav bar. App blade. This display none. Ha! I found it. I found it. Okay. I'm actually going to replace this with class hidden. Woohoo! Because use hidden instead of custom style. Drinking that Tailwind Kool-Aid. Okay, fine. So I assume this still works, and I haven't just committed something horrendous. Okay, now I do need to replace this link, this logout link. So I'll say the right there is logout. I'll just put it like this, and the label is logout, and I want it styled like the rest of my links. I do not, actually, no, it's fine. That's all fine, but I also need this on-click event. Oh no! What do I do? What do I do? Okay. What we should do is we should have a fourth thing. We should have a fourth thing. Okay. We'll call it attributes, and we'll say it is just blank. And then if is set params 3, which is the fourth and again optional thing, then we'll say that attributes is whatever that params 3 is. Okay, like that. And then we'll say, okay, put this params 3 after all of that mess. So you can override classes in href if you want to. You'd be stupid to, but you can. And then you can put custom attributes in there as a fourth and optional thing. So I could say, just as a string, take all of this mess here and put it over there. And I can also remove that and that because I don't really care about that being like super nicely styled. And then I should be able to essentially comment that out. Now I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work. Unexpected string logout, and that's an issue. Okay, so if I do that, because I've used single quotes on the outside of that, then this should still work. No, it doesn't, because I get a method not allowed error. That's not entirely awesome. It's got to be said. It's not entirely awesome. And I think it is because this is not being run. And I'll tell you exactly why it's because it's not being run. It's because onClick, remember I need to do onClick. OnClick needs to be this thing. That's the problem. Okay. But now I have another problem, which is that I have these things which need to be quoted out, and it's just turning into a little bit of a mess. That's a problem. Anyway, if I refresh this, no, it's still not entirely 100% cool. Let me have a look at the markup that's generated here. OnClick. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, maybe I need to use these quotes instead. Hey, I need to do something like that. That worked. That's really interesting. It was really interesting. Type name of what? Trying to get property name of non-object. Auth user name. That's interesting. Okay, what have I broken out of the auth thing? Oh, right. I broke this out of the auth thing. Okay, fine. This did actually need the auth thing. Okay, that makes sense because it's displaying the auth name up here and the logout link. So that makes total sense. If I log in here, okay, it should take me back to the dashboard, and then I can log out again, log in. Okay, so this looks like it's working again. Looks like it's working again. I can now delete this. That's cool. I can use the auth function here, which I prefer. To that, I'd say darkest is good here. I will put this as multi-line again. I'll put this as multi-line again because I want to say, okay, for extra small, text can be that, and the padding on the right. No, I don't want that. I do want these styles. That's the thing. That's the style that I want. So if I delete this mess, then I should be able to see it's got the same sort of padding as that. That's cool. That's really cool, actually. So that looks like it's doing well. Oh, this is a thing. I don't have, this isn't a link here either. What if I put this here and the URL is that? Okay, that's fine. And the label is this mess over here. I mean, really, it's not really necessary to do that. Borrow my topic is a good default for that instead. I don't care about it being not underlined. That is actually cool, except now I want to do LG and XL. That's what I want to do there for those sizes. So what does that render like? Whoa! Okay, actually, come to think of it, I do want no underline. I do want no underline. Under, no underline. I also actually want to do this as serif, and I have a cool serif font available. However, XL and 3XL. I might need to up this font because the default size of this is a little bit lower. And furthermore, text gray darkest. I want that to be text gray darkest. Why is that not? That's really interesting. What is this style here? Text gray darkest. Can I not override that style? Text gray darkest. What does this actually get rendered as? If I log in here, what are the classes that get rendered here? So text brand light, text gray darkest. Okay. So that's a problem. That's a problem because I can't override that class. Somehow it's not overriding that class. Let me go to the Tailwind documentation, tailwindcss.com. I'm just too lazy to type the .com apparently. Let me have a look if there is a way to do important. I mean, I hate the fact that I can do, I hate the idea of doing important. Prefix and important preferences, apply will have important removed. I don't really want to do that, but color, responsive and style variants, disable. Let's see. Text colors, responsive hover focus, disabling text colors fault. That's not what I want to do. Gee, that's really weird, hey? That's really weird. What do I do with that? What do I do with that? If I want to not have that text brand color on there, how do I disable that? How is that defined? I guess I should look at that, right? So text brand light gets applied before this. Is that what happens? Why is that what happens? Why is that what happens? That's so weird. That's so weird. What if I switch the order that those were done in? Just as a matter of interest, because I don't really understand why that one gets applied and the later one doesn't get applied. Why does that get overridden? That's so bizarre. Why does that get overridden? Text brand light, text gray darkest. That gets overridden. Is it just that the last one, or the first one in the style sheet, that it doesn't matter what order this is in? Wow. Okay. I'm not really sure what to do about that. Let's have a look here quickly. at this Tailwind.js file, because I have a theory about what we might be able to do. I have a theory about what we might be able to do. And it is to load, let's see, module exports, is that, yeah, I don't really know. Maybe we create a new file here called Tailwind colors.js. Okay. Oh, JSON. JSON is the problem there. You see, because what we can do, what we can do from PHP side is load a JSON file in, JSON unserialize it, or JSON parse it, sorry, and then look at the keys and the values presented there. We can't do that with this JavaScript because of the brand colors that are there. So it's not like we can say, okay, load the JSON file, get all the keys for colors, append text dash to it, and if any of those are found within the remaining string, remove the default value. We can't do that. And what I don't want to have to do is specify the brand color for every single link. I want to be able to overwrite it. So how do I do that? How do I do that? What are all the text styles? What are all the text class names? You see, transparent, okay, that's fine. We can move for that. Font family has font. Text size again. So it's not like we can even remove text dash things. It's not like we can say if text dash is in there, then remove the defaults. That's really frustrating. What if we say, okay, there's an option that we can do. What if we say, okay, I want to specify a color. Where is this? In Appia. I want to specify a color for this. So make this first thing false. What if we do that? Okay. And then in our service provider, we say something, I mean, let me just say like, no. No, that's fine. False is fine. False is fine. Okay. If we do false in our list of classes, then we can say, okay, if params2 0 and is array params2, if the first element in that array is defined, this is so irritating that I have to do all these checks, and the first element in this array is false, is not false. Maybe we do it like that. Then we override it. Otherwise, we just combine whatever's given. Okay, that's broken something though. That's broken something. If it's set and it is an array, then if the first element of that array is set and the first element of that array is not false, merge these classes in. Else, okay, I see what's happening. Classes is whatever params2 is. So if the first thing is a false, don't use the default. Also, because I haven't changed the view itself, I've just changed the directive, I need to remove that. Okay, there we go. So if this thing isn't a false, where's that thing on page here? If this isn't a false, it's going to use that. Otherwise, it's going to use just whatever default styling was there, which is really cool. I think that's really cool. I also think this should be inline flex instead of inline block. Okay, so is this inline flex? Display inline flex. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. I'm not crazy about these things being, the stuff looks off here, right? The stuff looks off here. Not really sure what to do about that. Maybe align, let me have a look at the Flexbox stuff. Align self center. I mean, maybe I get this item center, justify center as well. Justify center. I think this is actually, oh, it's already there. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, it does have this like weird bit of margin here, which I don't entirely want. Maybe I'll just put this in here and get rid of this thing. Okay, so that's actually a lot closer. I can do text left. I can actually do item center as well. And that should do, no, it does not. What if I replace that with justify center? No, come on. Inline, they're all inline flex, right? That is just weird. It's just weird. I don't actually want to mess with it right now, though. I don't actually want to mess with it right now. What I would like to do is see if I can... So both of these things, item center, justify center, H12, what is H12? Is that height? Let's go in here and have a look. H12, height 3 rems. That's pretty weird. I also don't know why. I mean, I think these are being aligned to baseline, right? I think that's what's happening here. And this doesn't have that. And that's weird. That's weird. Is there a way to specify that? I don't really know. I don't really know. Well, styling, hey? Styling, but let's take these and stick them in here. And the same over here. And we'll inline flex this as well. No! No, that's not what it's supposed to do. Inline flex, display none. Flex, what is the, okay. Justify content, justify end. Oh, that is such. That is so weird. Do I need to have this flex in here as well, I wonder? Flex 1, item center, justify start. Yes, okay. Okay, all right. Okay. Sure. I mean, this gets these things back in the center again, right? And technically this is the center, although this font's line height is pretty darn weird. That's pretty darn weird. How is this defined? If I go to my resources folder, what I want to see is how the 3XL, 3XL, does that not even, what? Oh, public CSS tailwind, okay. 3XL, font size, all of that stuff. You know, because what I think is happening is the line height is getting messed up. That's what I think is happening. If I go to text, line height, and specify leading none, on this heading, close all these things so they don't distract me, and I specify leading none. Let me do it at the end here. What does that look like? Nothing. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to mess with it too much now. This is center aligned. This is center aligned. I'm kind of okay with that. I'd like it if this could be baseline with this text, and this could be baseline with this text, but I'm not going to mess with it right now. It is what it is. My homepage, though, is looking amazing, and I've replaced the links on my navigation, my page navigation. So this should have the link directive. This should have the link directives in it, which it does. My app shouldn't have any of that stuff in. Now, the only other thing that I want to do is I don't want to load JavaScript on the landing page. I want to load it on the normal page layouts. So like the rest of the application where I log in and I edit stuff. And at the moment, I have some pages which are doing something similar. If I get a presentation link, create, I'm including this includes link type. If I look at that include, I've got some JavaScript that is pushed into the script stack. So I actually want to copy that. And in this page template, I want to push here. And that's where I want to put this script. Now, the thing is, I don't know what order this is going to be pushed in. If I refresh this, I shouldn't see any JavaScript at the bottom here. What? Why do I see that at the bottom there? That's weird. Oh, it's because I didn't save it. Okay. If I refresh this, no script. If I log in, script. If I go to topics, presentations, edit, I see that script above this. Okay. What if I go back here? No. What if I go to the page template and I shift? Nothing. Help me out here. Stacks. Push stack. Yeah, that doesn't really help me, does it? It doesn't really help me. Unless, I mean, how is this implemented? I'm going to do my own directive now. My goodness. I'm going to have to, right? I'm going to have to. View, compilers, blade compiler, push. Concerns, stacks. How is this implemented? Compile push, yield push content. Compile end push. Prepend. Why is that not documented? Why is that not documented? Prepend. Oh, what a butt. Why is that not documented? That's such a butt. That's painful. Is that documented anywhere? Oh no, that sucks, man. It's awesome. I was wondering if you had considered adding prepend to the stack docs or if it was just removed to simplify things. Okay. It kind of feels like this should be documented. kind of feels like that should be. And actually, these things aren't particularly well named because, okay, push does what push is supposed to do, but prepend, it feels like it should be prepend and append, or push and shift. That's what it feels like it should be. But, you know. Anyway, now I'm getting the scripts in the right place, so that's good. I load the app ones first, which has Axios and jQuery or Lodash or whatever, and then the script specific to the page. And I still later on want to change this so that it pushes the stuff into the build chain somehow. But for now, I don't really know how that's going to happen. I'm very happy with what's been done today so far, which is to fix this link, to replace these with a link directive, to add this stuff here and to change the styling a little bit, to fix these links with a link directive, and to generally fix up this view as well. So using link directives again, having some nicer styling, changing the default style of this as well. I'm kind of really happy with that. But actually all that's happened is I've worked on the link directive mainly. Let me see what is out here. Oh, I can delete that colors file for a start because I didn't actually use it. See, it's empty. Let's scroll. Okay, so that's gone. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so I added a way to override it using the default classes. I added a way to have optional attributes added as well. I split the two navs, that's good. I removed the link include. What? Why is that still there? Oh, sorry, no, I moved the topic cards, that's right, into their own subfolder. Here I am using the correct include paths, that's cool. I moved the includes nav out of the main template and I put it into landing and page template respectively, and I also moved the script out into a prepend directive in the page layout. So there's the nav moving, and there's the page moving, and there's the prepend of scripts. This all looks very good. Use link directive all over the place. Cool. So that should update this pull request, and now this code should be looking a lot better. Basically done this stuff today. So we added a link directive. The first approach of it was evaling code. We added a better directive, which was to create the PHP code, and the third stuff includes even more improvements to that. So a way to disable default classes and a way to include custom attributes. This thing looks a lot better now. I'm quite happy about that. I think, though, that is all I'm going to share with you today. So if you like this, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining in. In the comments below, by all means do that. You can check out the GitHub repo and contribute if you feel like it. Talk to me on Twitter as well. I'm @AssertChris. I also love to hear your feedback about that and any questions you have or feedback you have. That would be cool. And hopefully I'll be able to do another one of these soonish, and there might be less noise, who knows? It might be better produced, who knows? But for now, I'm glad to have shared this stuff with you, and I'll continue working on this project with glee. So thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.